automatic parking. Okay, we can cover it. We can have a bit of a pan round. So I'll just check on the phone now how we are doing. See how good it is.
Oh, you mean the...
Videos. So Roundel, so this looks like it's live.
Should it be on Twitter?
Yeah. So look. How cool is that? So now we can share it on your everything. Couple links. So I'll do Twitter now. Good.
About it.
So we can just pass the time of day until midday. We can chat about the Roundel.
The two roundels we have, yes. When were they actually? Hold on, we have a... I've noted it down. Where is it? It was opened. It was opened in May. At least the oval one down the road was.
In May.
Yes.
What
a fuss it was.
I am a big fan. I'm a Roundel lover.
If you remember how people went on about it, oh my god, it's the end of everything. People will die. Will someone think about the children? And you know what? Nothing happened. It works. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It makes drivers think. That's the whole idea of this shared space philosophy, which they haven't implemented fully. It's a bit of a half job. But it works, you know. You have to think before you enter the junction. You can't be on autopilot.
And we're down here today with the camera rigged up just to share with our friends far and wide about how efficient and safe this is. And it's coming up to midday. It's New Year's Eve. Why would people be coming into town at this time? What are they going to be doing?
Last minute errand runs. Get champagne for tonight. Canapes for Marks and Spencer. That kind of thing, I guess.
It's going to be a night in, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
From what I've heard, hospitality, majority of hospitality, they're really suffering. Loads of cancellations. People staying home. Sensible thing to do, probably, but it's not great for restaurants, is it?
It's a tough time, and when the dawn begins and it's all gone away, we've just got to get out and support. Oh, hang on. If I turn the camera around here, look, if I whiz it round, we've got...
Oh, 2 iFrees.
2.
One being mine.
There's someone getting charged. Is that right? Charged up. So I I was walking along the prom, and I could see wires like I can see now.
Yeah.
Is that safe?
Yeah,
Do you
of
feel
course it
safe
is.
doing that?
Oh, yeah. It's perfectly safe. The middle car you see there, are you zoomed in on it?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, the black one's mine, and I'm charging at the moment because I forgot to charge last night. These are the latest of 32, I think, charging points that will be along Douglas Prom eventually. They're not all live yet. They switch them on one after another. And they were clever the way they put them in. They've installed them in such a way that you don't have to dig up the road to plug the new ones in. The wiring is already there. So that's good. The MUA is really good. They're on the ball. But no, charging them is super safe. I mean, there's nothing that could happen. Even at home, I plug it in the pouring rain. It's fine. It's designed to do that.
So tell me, I'm not a man of many means. If I want to get into the electric car market, if I want to preserve the environment...
Yes, there's another little Tesla.
How many Teslas on the Isle of Man?
Well, there's over 1,000 EVs now. We know that. Because the ones in the official statistic, I think 700 they're saying, they only include Manx-plated ones. But a lot of people bring them over from the UK.
Yeah.
And they don't change the plates immediately. So we have way over 1,000 EVs here. I'm quite certain of that.
I still think you've got to have 25, 30k at least in the bank to...
No,
do this.
not
No?
at all. You can get a Nissan Leaf. Look, the thing is the island is tiny. So everything you do in driving-wise here is short distance. You know, you drive from your home to Tesco, from your home to the office and back. So it's all short distance, which means even an older EV will do you fine. Mine's got the range extender, so its basic battery range is only about 80, 90 miles on a good day. I've never needed the range extender. It's fully enough. So if you want to spend little money, you can get a Nissan Leaf or something for less than 10 grand. And it will do you perfectly fine on the Isle, man.
Less than 10 grand?
Yeah.
Though
Speaking
I'm
of
shocked.
Leafs, there's one coming there. There's so many Leafs now. The Leaf might look boring, but this was the car that really brought EVs to the masses. It wasn't Tesla, it was the Leaf.
So you could get a second-hand one of those for...
Yeah, for less than 10 grand. That model actually you can get for less than 10k. What amazes me is here, when you stand down here, you just see how many EVs there are driving past now compared to like a year ago. And the other way I can tell you there are more EVs is there are a lot more cars on all the charging stations when you drive around town. You know, every time I want to charge somewhere, it's blocked already.
Now, I'm just checking into Twitter, and we've actually got a question.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's from Manx Free State.
Our indicator's banned on the Roundel. I've just seen it. Only if you're a BMW driver, I think.
I'm
a BMW driver, yes.
Is that because you're... well, hang on. You're Munich side, aren't you? I thought you'd be a big fan of the Beamers, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I am. That's why I bought one. I was thinking of a Leaf, because you can get... We looked at one, a Nissan Leaf, pre-owned, low mileage. They're all low mileage here, right?
Yeah.
It had everything, leather seats, Bose stereo, the lot, like a really good car for 9 grand.
Blimey.
But someone at home requires more status on the driveway. So she who must be obeyed.
Oh dear.
And actually, looking back, I'm happier with the i3.
Yeah.
It's a much better car.
Well, you're a bit of a driving nut, aren't you?
Yeah,
you
and
do like your cars.
And the i3 was the first proper EV BMW made. So they went a bit over the top with it. It's all carbon fiber and high tech.
Yeah.
Which means it's quick. Like it's very light. It's 1,200 kilos. And you can really annoy Porsches with that thing. Up until about 80, 90 miles an hour, and that's where sort of I run out of steam.
Okay.
But in the mid-range, I will. I've seen i3s beat BMW M3s in drag races, up to a certain speed, and then of course the petrol engine kicks in. But Let's be realistic. I mean, when was the last time you could do 200 miles an hour on the Isle of Man? You can't, unless you're a superbike
Yeah.
doing the TT. There's just not enough space.
Yeah.
So your real fun is somewhere around the 100-mile mark-ish,
Yeah.
thereabouts. EV is perfect for that. It's so much fun.
So tell me roughly, how often are you charging up and how much does it cost?
I charge when I have to. I mean, it's convenient if you go into town, you get the space here, and I might as well plug it in from a little low. But usually just plug it in at home, fill it up once or twice a week is enough.
And just for clarity, when you do charge at one of these points here, and we'll just pan round again to the charging point, which is on Loch Promenade. Now, it's just a case of, it's like a credit card payment or an online payment. How does that work?
You can do both with most. Well, with the fast charger, you can use a credit card, rapid charger at the C terminal. These you just get, it's called PodPoint. You get the little app, stick your card in it, and you plug yourself in. Then every PodPoint has a name, like a unique name on it. So you look for that in the app, confirm that it's you who's charging on it,
Well,
and that's it.
Hang on. So these pod points, these charging points have all got names.
Yeah, they all have individual names.
Well,
Every
like-
single one in the world.
Well, like Fenella and things. Have they got like a Manx version, or is it?
They don't have Manx version, but let's have a look. I'm
Imagine
currently charging on one called, because I'm charging right now. It's loading. It makes it easy to locate them, no matter where you are. My 4G is a bit slow, as you would expect.
Are you sure on Manx Telecom?
Manx Telecom.
Ah, you see, I'm unsure down here, and so far it's pretty slick. Looking at my data, we seem to be doing okay on this broadcast.
Manx Telecom is, I don't know what's happening to them. Struggling the right word?
I don't know.
What's going on there? Okay, my app isn't loading. This is great. But yeah, every single one has its own name. You just look for the name, confirm your charge, and that's it. And it's super cheap. The most expensive charger we have is the one at the C terminal. The rapid charger, that's 25 pence per kilowatt hour.
But that means nothing to me.
Um,
That means nothing. Like, if I'm on empty, okay, I go to the garage and I put £70 worth of fuel in the car.
Yeah.
So you're on empty, you go to the fast charge, how much are you putting in?
I've never actually measured a full charge, because you don't usually run it till empty. You sort of charge from 10% to 80% or so. But I have compared it to our old car, which is an old Mercedes 3 liter, which I still have. I keep for the summer, but I noticed that a trip that would have cost us about 20 quid in fuel in the Merc, cost us about, driving around, cost us about £5 in the BMW. So your fuel cost plus. The other thing is, I just got my paperwork in for the EV tariff in the house. If you have an EV, MUA will give you an EV tariff for your whole house.
Oh, hang on. For the whole house?
Whole house. So you get half price electricity from midnight till 7 a.m. on the whole house.
Right, okay. I didn't know this. This isn't a widely shared fact. So you get an electric car.
Yep.
You put how much does the terminal cost to go in?
I just got I actually have to pay it today. They sent me the invoice yesterday. £140 is the MUA work.
Yeah.
You can put your own charger in at home, but all cars usually come with what we call a granny charger, which you can plug into your home. The only thing you have to do before they give you the tariff is you have to have an electrician check that your wiring is okay. Because an EV, usually at home, they pull about 7 kilowatts, so you need reasonable wiring. And the MUA will come and put in your new meter and everything, do that for you.
Okay.
So that's 140 quid. If you don't want a proper home charger, you don't have to put one in. You can use the one that came with the car. If you want a proper one, it's about £1,000. And that's the thing where I was in the newspaper the other day, where I want the government to, give financial support to people to put proper chargers in their houses, because it helps us going forward. And the guy who does them, EV Man, he's doing hundreds. I mean, he's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. He's done over 600 installations of home charging points, and he's busy, like he's full out.
And he's a good guy, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, good guy, good service. So I did see in the media that we've got, say, 780, was it?
It's
electric
more than
vehicles.
that, yes.
So
It's
more than that.
780 on Manx plates, but they don't
Yeah.
count the UK ones that, been brought over that haven't
Yeah.
bothered to register yet.
Yeah.
We're over 1,000, I'm quite certain.
So now then, we've got 70 to 80,000 vehicles on the island.
Yep, thereabouts.
What happens if everyone has an electric car? Can we cope? Are we going to be blowing a few fuses?
It's a gradual process, so luckily they don't come all at once, otherwise we'd have a problem.
Yeah.
I have been speaking to the MUA and other people who know more about this than me.
Yeah.
And they were basically saying right now we're more than fine. We're exporting 30% of electricity, so it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard was someone telling me if there's a dozen Teslas coming over and they all charge at once, the power station will go down. It's just I mean, it makes no sense. The power station supports how many thousand households?
Oh, that makes me laugh.
And they all pull more than the Tesla.
That does make me laugh.
So at the moment we're fine. They're working on this 1-to-10 ratio, which means one public charger per every 10 EVs.
Yeah.
Which I think we're already exceeding actually. So there's more EVs than that. You can tell. I mean, it's it's New Year's Eve and there's free cars charging there already. That wouldn't have happened a year ago. So we can support it at the moment. They need to do work. The power station we have right now is going to reach end of life 2030-ish.
Yeah.
So when they think about the new one, they have 5-year plans.
Yeah.
And I think the current 5-year plan ends in 2025. So when they come up with a new one, they need to, sort of ramp up efforts in the future. But right now we're okay. We can cope with thousands more EVs and nothing will happen. Because if they're all charged at night at home, it's, it makes... If everyone on the island suddenly buys an electric heater in the winter with 7 kilowatts, we're not going to go down. And that's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So
it's like when everyone puts a kettle on at the same time at half time in the European Championship final where England got bombed out by the Itais. But there you go. Anyway, look, we're here to talk about electric cars, which we have done. And thank you for that insight, Frank. But we're at the Roundel. It's outside, you'd say the Sefton, the Gaiety, the Plaza. You could say it's the Plaza, the new Plaza, and we're going to have a chat about what happened in 2021 on the Isle of Man.
Let's have a look.
Highlights of the year, which has been memorable for many reasons, none less than the fact that we didn't have a TT. Yeah,
that was another year without TT.
Yeah, very sad, very sad. So when the TT starts up again, can you really see that it's going to have that same energy and that vibe?
I think people are already looking forward to it. But my concern is that we end up with sort of a second 2007, where, everyone is trying to cash in way over the top. And everyone's going to try and make up for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And they're going to, damage the event like they did in 2007. I understand people have to make their money back. But I think that's, it's going to be busy, but they're going to squeeze people for money for sure.
But if you've got the volume coming in, and you're always going to get, say, 40,000 people, then the highest bidder gets the ticket, mate.
Yeah, but even in the last years when TT got more popular again, some of the hotel prices were, ridiculous.
Oh, gosh, and crazy.
And people compare it with, like, MotoGP and Formula 1. It's like, it's not the same thing, It is, so you can't compare those prices with here. It is a different thing.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's a TT. I love the TT dearly. Long may it continue. And I think it will be busy. Because I have a feeling this Omicron thing is sort of the off-ramp of the virus. Because if you see I noticed that when you have the newspaper there, right?
Yeah.
This time last year, the front page was, COVID's lockdown, all sorts of things, December. Actually, last December, the front page was the jet ski Romeo. That was the biggest story of the month, next to COVID.
Oh, I'd love to tell you my theory on that one. Dear
there's so many theories on that one.
He didn't even ride from there. No way. You speak to anyone that's got a jet ski, and they said that's highly improbable that he came 4 hours on a jet ski.
Well, the jet ski's up in the Motor Museum in Derby. If anyone wants to see it, they bought it. It's on display.
I love that place.
So
I love that place.
it's nice.
Tell me, just before we get going, I was speaking to someone this morning about Elon Musk, and is he going to be planting something here like a giant dish?
No, it's just I think it's already here. It's up on Douglas Head. It's just a couple of dishes. That's it. So there's no. He's not coming here. There's no big building going up. None of that kind of thing.
Oh, I thought we were going to be like shooting Starlinks up into the air off Carnay.
Turning Ramsey into a spaceport. Yeah, that would be.
Yes, as it builds out into the sea.
They tried that before in Derby, didn't they?
They did.
That spacecraft's also in the Derby Motor Museum, actually.
Fantastic.
So
anyway,
you can see that there.
I do like what the Cunninghams have done.
Yeah, it's an amazing place.
Yeah, must get up there. So let's just have a look. Should we just have a chat about the prom and where it is? Because I'm going to ask you to put your Douglas councillor head on now. So is your ward this area? Do you cover this area?
No, there's only 12 of us, so we look after everything. But no, I'm actually in South, so I would be Pulrose, Arnica. That's my patch.
But even so, this is part of your responsibility, isn't it? The commercial success. And,
yes, of course, and it's been a big headache for a long time. I mean, I've only been a councillor half a year.
Yeah.
So much of this trouble was before my time. But it's coming together now, and I know it's gotten a lot of criticism, but let's at least try and see the good thing. I mean, you can see it now, and you can see the Sefton and the Gaiety and everything. It looks nice. It's coming together. Yes, it's a disaster of a project, and some people should have, faced consequences for it. But
I don't think it's time to nitpick.
No,
I don't think it's time to nitpick, and we'll just say, look, it was a complete cluster. Job done, and it cost Tim Baker his job. No question about it. I think likening himself to Churchill. I did. Well, I mean, as a German, what do you think about that?
It's. I mean, it was clear he would lose. So,
but I think it would have been a tough call for anyone because he inherited the problem, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it looks like whatever happened, the homework wasn't done. They didn't have the expertise, but we are getting there. And it's like you say, when you come out of those out of the Sefton or the Gaiety, it's pretty, isn't it?
It's pretty. It's really nice now.
If you were in the south of France, we've got palm trees, we've got plazas. Exactly. We haven't got the sunshine and the food, but we've got something that will look good, and it's
the only thing that doesn't make sense on it is the horse tram. I don't know what they were thinking, the way they did it, but maybe they weren't thinking. They should have just put it on the side instead of doing this silly solution. But other than that, it's beautiful. It's fine. It's coming together.
Well, just quickly on the horse trams, this was a project that was voted in, wasn't it, by Tynwald?
I believe so. Yeah.
And there's still 1.9 million to spend because the horse trams, when they are finished, I think they end up round about here, isn't it? I don't know.
I don't think anyone knows.
I don't know.
My impression was it's going to go, along the side here and to the sea terminal.
Well, I seem to remember that this was going to go all the way. Now, that is what Tynwald voted in. That's the democratic process. And now people are saying, well, the powers that be, we don't need to do that. And you can't do that.
No, you shouldn't.
It's against the law. It's against the law. But I'll just whiz over to the sign for the electric railway. There we go. Right. There we are. I'm on the electric railway sign. How much did that cost? Did you see that?
100 and something.
160, I think. Which, okay, it needs to be done.
And the new one is much sturdier than the old one because I watched them build it. I know I spoke to the guys who did it because I did the time lapse of it.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to the first one was just, a bit of wood hammered to some old scaffolding.
Yeah.
That was it. And it was stuck into the hill, no foundations, nothing. This one's got concrete foundations, everything's weatherproof.
Has to be.
It's designed to last something like 50 years. So
yeah.
It's one of our landmarks, and I know there's some people who went on about again, no, it costs so much money.
Oh, you've got to pay it. But the one thing that just niggles me about that, we've got a bit of a jam here. On
Another Tesla, so many Teslas. Oh no, it's the same one.
One thing that niggles me, I look at the sign and I'm seeing that the C doesn't sit right. It's like a fraction off being in line with the rest of the fonts. Comments, please. It's annoyed me. Any of those out there, graphic designers or suffering from OCD.
I think they lined it up by eye, if I remember correctly.
But it's not quite right. The C is just a little out. Or maybe it's my eyesight.
Maybe it's the angle from here. I don't know.
I don't know. Get the measuring.
It's good that they changed it. It's a landmark.
You have to, and we have to retain these items, artifacts.
Yes.
You know, iconic pieces from the Victorian era. We have to keep them.
Yes.
So I know people that get upset about the trams and whatnot, and we've got to make them economically viable, but they are important. Same with the steam train.
Yeah, it's part of the island, you know. And either you want that kind of thing, then you have to. I mean, fine, the steam train, you know, they have wasted money left and right, so it could have been run better. You know, keyword here, that green crocodile diesel engine, whatever it's called, which was a absolute disaster. But the steam trains themselves and those kind of things, that makes us different, you know. And without all these things, what are we? We're just a nondescript British seaside town. Nobody cares.
Precisely.
There's no character. There's nothing unique about it.
We've got to move forward. I mean, I do like the ideas that have been mooted about having some giant death slide off Stayfell or mountain bike tracks and things like that, where you could go up on the tram and take a run down, you know, like a black run, a green run, or whatever, you know, into whichever valley you choose, and you could virtually get all around the island safely without going on the road, because as a cyclist myself, I do find it a little bit congested from time to time.
Well, they're trying to build more cycle paths, no?
It's not happening very quick, but the ones that, you know, are introduced are gratefully received. But I tell you what, the irony of when you're driving, you're cycling down Peel Road, and you've got the cycle lane blocked because of people trying to get into McDonald's.
Yeah, I noticed that. I actually want to raise that in council somehow. I mean, we're fine. We're not responsible for the roads anymore. The DY took that off us. Yeah. But I think we can still kind of look at it, because it's blocking cycle paths and it's unsafe. It's kind of symbolic for today's society, isn't it? That cars would block a cycle path going into McDonald's.
I know.
There's some symbolism in there somewhere.
How much cholesterol is that place chucking out? But anyway, let's have a think about other highlights.
So what happened? I made some notes. Let's have a look. The only news site on the island that actually has a good archive is Free FM. So if you want to check last news stories, go on their website, and they have a month-by-month archive. Oh, I see. Everyone else, you just have to search. So January.
Oh, there was nearly a shunt there.
January, last January, Brexit kicked in on the 1st of January.
I don't hear any good stories about Brexit at all.
No.
You listen to anyone that does business, say, in Northern Ireland. It makes things so tough. I had a job with someone who does business on the Isle of Man in food, shall I say, and Northern Ireland, and they say a right ball ache, to be polite. A right ball ache. It's been a disaster, I think. Everyone knows that. Yeah. But what I don't understand is why they still vote for those people. But there you go. That's media for you. Fine, it wasn't in January, but technically the jet ski Romeo was still the big story in January. Yeah. I think he was sent to jail in January or something. He was certainly still in the headlines. Well, they were talking about making a movie, weren't they? About it, or doing something. And it looks like what happened afterwards. It'll be a scene from a Martin Scorsese film. I think so.
There definitely needs to be a Netflix documentary.
Oh dear me! What was going on there? But anyway, we'll move along.
We had the second lockdown in last January. If you think back to about 12 months, we all weren't allowed to leave homes, more or less. It was lifted on the 29th of January. And also in last January, 6,000 people received their first COVID jab over here. It was a significant milestone. Yeah. So we've come quite a long... Within a year, we've come from starting the first jab to giving, the third, so to say, the booster thing. So
on the first 2 jabs, do you get a refund? No, because...
Actually, no. I want the way this is going, I want a loyalty card, like you get in the coffee shop, get 6, get the 7 free or something.
Yeah, get a free car wash maybe.
Yeah, that would be. I honestly think, with this Omicron thing being milder, this might be the off ramp. We might be on the way to a better 2022. It kind of looks that way. February, I couldn't find much. If anyone knows what happened in February, let me know. March, there was a virtual House of Keys sitting again. Was that the first time? I can't remember. But the oldest parliament in the world meeting virtually.
Should be televised though, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
straight
all of
away.
them should
Televised with commentary as to what is going on. I don't know. If you want to find out, when Tynwald is sitting and what's being said, you've just got to tune in or read Hansard, haven't you, word by word. It'd be great to have like a little review. Maybe there's something in that.
There's space for more media coverage for sure. The UK brought out the old plans again for a tunnel from the UK to Ireland, with the Isle of Man being the roundabout in the middle kind of thing. Of course, never happened.
I think that's a distraction, isn't it?
Yeah, they always bring that story out when Boris has done something and they need a quick distraction.
Yeah.
And work on Pulrose Bridge started. That's exciting, isn't it?
And there's a cycleway on that, isn't there?
Yes, and it's still not finished. But
okay.
The reason it's taken longer is, I think, for all the supply lines that actually go through it.
So. Hang on a minute. For those of us from the south will have been suffering incessantly because we had the Pulrose Bridge, then we had some roadworks on Richmond Hill, and we had that Ballasalla bastard of a roundabout.
The endless traffic light, yes.
And this, I actually think these roadworks have robbed people of possibly like a week or two of their lives.
Very likely have.
Yeah, and the pollution as well. The pollution. Those non-electric vehicle types.
Yeah, it was the year of roadworks, that's for sure. I mean, the whole year the prom looked like a bomb site, so... Yeah.
And go on. No, we are getting there. We're being positive about this. Nearly
right, April. You remember that big boat that stopped by, Yacht A?
Oh, yeah.
She was here in April. Sheltering from the weather or something.
That's right, a Russian oligarch. It really was a treat to see that, to
the
see
size of it is
to see
nuts.
opulence and wealth and
just the running costs of that are astronomical. But
here we go, some Roundel action. Here we go. So
let's see, everyone's well behaved. It works.
Yeah,
it works. Good. What else happened? Prince Philip died in April.
Yeah,
that was probably the biggest British news story next to COVID.
Well, I think there's one brewing at the moment, but I'm not looking forward to Ghislaine Maxwell's suicide next week. I think that will be
it will be tragic.
Sorry.
Oh no, I mean it's probably going to happen. That's the sad thing.
Oh God, keep your eyes on that one.
There'll be a camera malfunction, and
yeah,
it's we're laughing about it, but it's not really funny, is it? It's just, how do they get away with this stuff?
Exploitation at high levels.
Money, isn't it?
Incredible story.
Manxcare started operations in April.
Oh, yeah.
It's a new...
An arm's length agency.
Which so far seems to be well received. Yeah.
I think it is the way to go. Let the professionals focus on what they do best and so forth. But I think if you could dedicate a whole programme to Noble's Hospital. Now, hang on, we'll swing over to the electric point. What's happening here now? Is there 3 points there?
There's 4.
There's 4 points.
2 chargers, and they have 2 points each.
So this is one of those, so we've got Leaf and 2 BMWs.
Yeah. And these are just the newly installed chargers, and they're all along the prom. Yeah. All of them are being used, so you can tell there's more and more cars here.
And you think losing 3, 5, 10, whatever parking spaces is okay?
These are all the revamped ones anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
If you remember, this is the new prom spaces.
Yeah.
What else happened in April? We had the 50 and 60,000 vaccine milestone, first vaccines being given in the Isle of Man. Quickly followed in May by the 23,000 second dose milestone. So they were really pumping it out in the gallons, which is an amazing effort. And for June, I only have one news story out.
Yeah.
And that's the most important one. The Roundel was unveiled.
And here we are at Roundel 1. I I must admit, in my former job, I used to do things involving traffic and what have you, and whenever the traffic lights broke down at Broadway, traffic seemed to flow much better.
Yeah, just let people think, that Roundel is doing exactly what it was designed to do. People think, people get on with it.
Maybe we should name them. Name them Roundel 1, Roundel 2.
We could be clever and we could sell the naming rights. Maybe I should raise that in council.
Right. There's a big space there in the middle, but this is actually Greensills Corner, I think.
Is it?
I think this is known as Greensills Corner, and of course the
well, we could go to. Broadway. We have 2 prime spaces here, right? So we could go and say, that one could be the, I don't know, Budweiser Roundel, and this one could be the Mercedes Roundel, and they could pay us, and we put the logo on it.
I like your style. I think you should send some correspondence to the head offices and wait. So.
What happened in July then? We had local elections. Apparently I was elected a councillor then.
Congratulations, along with some new blood, which is great.
Yes, a much smaller, 12 instead of 18 councillors, but a much more younger and more dynamic and greener and more progressive council. So it's actually good fun to be there because we can now, get things done. We're only a lowly little, town council, but there are things we can do and that affects people's lives.
You can make, in some ways, you can make more of an impact, more quicker as a councillor than what you could ever do as an MHK. You could change people's lives quicker and more relevantly on the local front.
Yeah, because it's everyday things we do it. Our remits are, relatively restricted these days because a lot of stuff central government took on.
True.
But we still do things, and it always amuses me that people think we're some highly paid, I don't know, king-like figures sitting there. We're not.
No, not at all.
I'm not earning a penny with this. You get like an allowance of $12.50 an hour during the day and $7.50 at night, less than minimum wage. But if you count in the hours and all the other things we do, for example, during Christmas in South with my 2 colleagues, with Claire and Stephen, we put out 3,000 Christmas cards to all the constituents, just saying Merry Christmas and having our contact details on the back in case you ever need us during the year. Stick it on your fridge. We paid for that. So what we paid for those cards alone is more than I got in any attendance. It's not this big kingdom. We are not.
You've got to create the awareness, and I think by having a say in the media like you do. I saw your article in the newspaper, Isle of Man newspapers today, and people can reach out and have an influence and get involved, and that's really important.
Yeah, and we're just people who try to create a nicer, well-running town that's a good place to live. That's all we do. We're not some weird royal wannabe sitting in town hall. It's just plus council meetings are public. If you want to come along, you're welcome to, and very few people ever do. So.
And you can see where the money's going online, can't you? I think the accounts.
Yes,
and the minutes, it's all.
Yeah, someone the other day said the Bee Gees figure. That was another thing that was done this year. It was unveiled, I think, July or August. So well received. Everyone takes pictures with it. Everyone loves it. And it was 170 grand or something. So, people criticize the price, which yes, it costs money. It's an artist who does it. It's complicated to do. It was very well done, but the free publicity to get out of it, it's a new landmark. It's
Well, I'll let you into a little secret. I do a lot of tourism. I do a lot of driving round, people who are visiting the island, and you do the usual spots. Quite often when you're returning to the island's capital, because quite often the tourists are staying in the hotels, you can just drop by at the statue for a quick photograph, and it's not just the tourists, it's the people that are here on business.
Serious?
Oh yeah. So you get talking to, you'll pick them up, you'll be taking them to the airport, and we can just drop by, and it kind of just makes a memory, and they'll take a photograph, and they'll share that photograph saying, this is me on the Isle of Man with Morris, Barry and Robin, with the sea in the background, the Tower of Refuge, and it's sending a message out, because they'll share that with all the friends, won't they?
Yes,
in this digital world. Free advertising. 160k, nothing.
Well, the weird thing was the other day, I think it was even on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, if you're there, I'm sure you will message me. someone said, "Oh, what's the real cost?" Because I heard a rumor the real cost was high. I was like, that 170 is the real cost. How do you think council budgets work? We have like an official part and a secret part that we use dice afterwards to work out? No, it's what you see there. It's transparent. You know where every penny goes. And that's the cost for the thing, and that's that. So people read too much into, into things that simply aren't there, and they think, especially local politics, is more complicated than it is. It's not. It's quite simple.
Well, I think we should, because I'm sure when we get to July, we'll be talking about somebody on a bicycle. We should recognise that person. But where are we up to now on our calendar of happenings in 2021?
Let's have a look. July. So we had local elections. We had Sir John Lorimer named as Isle of Man's new Lieutenant Governor.
Have you met him yet?
I briefly met him at the Remembrance Day. Down here at the War Memorial.
So far, so good. He's on Twitter. He seems a bit of a roughy-tufty army man.
Yeah,
isn't he?
He cut a dashing figure during the day. That impressed a lot of the veterans as well, and a lot of people. That went down really well.
Yeah, I think he's kind of would he be in the same genre as maybe Alf Cannon? What he wants to be, kind of ex-army.
Yes,
rugby, probably. Yeah, that kind of thing. Seems to be well received.
But I mean, the position of governor is sort of a Marmite thing for people here, isn't it? Some say it's like it's a waste of money. Why are we paying for this? And it is sort of it's a bit of a nice job to have, isn't it? You sit there for a while, get $100,000 a year to shake hands and have parties. I mean, it's a job I'd like to have.
But if you had £500,000 at the expense of the governor, which I think is what it costs a year, I'm only plucking that out of thin air. What would we gain from it as opposed to what would we lose?
We could pay healthcare workers a bonus for $500,000.
But we've got money in the kissy to do that anyway.
Do we?
Of course we.
We have money? Oh.
So I believe. But it's a big argument. It's a big argument, isn't it? Constitutionally, I think the Isle of Man public has got to make the decision themselves about whether we need a governor and what our relationship is with the UK.
I think the key point that people don't like about it is the cost, and they have a valid argument when they say, why are we paying for the representative of the Queen? Why is the Queen not paying for him? That's a fair argument to make. She wants a representative here, she should pay for him.
Well,
it's not like she can't afford it.
It's like our UK defence budget and how different it is from our cousins in the Channel Islands. Maybe we just get it kind of wrong, like we kind of get ripped off, which we'll talk about soon, because I'm sure that's going to be on your list of memories from this last year. Well, what are we up to now anyway?
Right, the next point I have, we're still in July. So, the steam packet had a new boss. Well, still has a new boss, Brian Thompson.
Hey, I've met him.
No, I haven't.
I've met him. Good, and there's a bit of a... Hey, we nearly got hit by a seagull then. Is that a message? That was about 5
I don't think he's a fan of the show, you know. I don't think he's a fan of the show.
You know these things can live till they're 30 years old.
And they're very smart as well.
There he is.
He's waiting for his next victim.
Hey, I tell you what, your cousins out in Peel are much harder. Much more harder than you. They don't just try and bomb you, they'll steal your kebab.
Oh, they do that here as well. If you walk along Strand Street, you see them. But they're red listed. I actually like them.
So where are we up to?
So, new steam packet boss. Then we had Tynwald Day with Princess Anne in attendance in July.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
And few COVID restrictions in place, if you remember. It was like nothing ever happened. We enjoyed a COVID-free Tynwald Day. That was exciting. The BG statue was unveiled in July. In August, we had the CEG Orbit run aground off the Point of Ayre in the north. Remember that big red boat that suddenly...
Yeah, that was exciting.
And the whole island went up to take a picture.
Yeah.
So there's a message in there. You want people to exercise, you just ground a big ship in the middle of nowhere and they will all come out and go for a walk.
There might be a message there.
Yeah, so there's at least a YouTube video idea there. We also got the Red Arrows in August. Even though we didn't have TT, at least we did get the Jets come over. That was nice.
Always well received.
Yeah.
Always well received.
I'm always amazed how they work out where they are in space. But that's practice, I guess. Because if you fly tight formations in three-dimensional space and you split up and reform, how do they know all these things? But
years and years of training and experience in the fabulous Royal Air Force.
Yeah, they are really remarkable. I've watched that documentary about them where they had their world tour. That's really well. I think it's still on Netflix. Or not world tour, America tour, I think.
Okay.
They did a tour, and that's amazing, the effort that went into it and the precision.
Probably one of your top 10 wannabe jobs, isn't it?
I like flying, yeah. So.
I'd just like to follow them around and clean the plane. I wouldn't want to do anything too risky.
What do we have? Oh, September was a big one. We had national elections. And what an election it was.
Incredible.
Excitement, drama, big changes.
And there was, wasn't there? There was. It
10 or 11 new faces.
The public had their say, and I think
what a say it was.
There were some demonstration votes where people put their foot down and you could say booted a few of the has-beens out, really.
Subtle.
I think so, but I must admit, we said goodbye to Graham Crageen, Jeff Boot, and Tim Baker and Ray Harmer, who were all part of the Howard Quayle cabinet.
Yeah.
And really, that is the message, that there was dissatisfaction on the streets, in the neighbourhoods, on the Isle of Man, and now we have lots of new
faces. And a lot more female members. Is it 10 or 11? 4 ministers, female ministers. And, it was fun because I was kind of part of it in East. I supported the candidates in East, Joni and Claire, with a bit of, just put some posters up and do some other things. And of course there was certain other candidates that, I didn't really want to see winning for various reasons. And it was...
But what I can say, in my years of, living on the Isle of Man, I will say that this group of cabinet members and most of the MHKs are actually the most intelligent, kind of high quality people that I've ever known. I mean, the results will be, as the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. But when you look at the likes of, say, someone like Jane Pools, streamlined, clever, intelligent, communicates beautifully, and you think, oh, she's a safe pair of hands to have in there. Really.
Yeah, it's I think you're spot on there. It is probably the best House of Keys we've had in a long, long time. And when the election results came in, not just in East but everywhere.
Yeah,
it was a delight to see it. It was clear that we would have a really good House of Keys, which is what we need right now, because we live in very uncertain times. More uncertain than ever before.
But it scares me that we don't really go into surveys and opinion polls. So you can't really say and identify, well, was Howard Quayle a popular chief minister? How does he compare with Alf Cannon? How successful was that, regime that we had before? Were they too forceful, with COVID, in that, remember the Comis Hotel, the prison camp that was up there, and the police escort from the boat, and the motorcycle outriders and things like that.
It's, I think in some respects in the early COVID, they went over the top and they did things wrong, but the word unprecedented was used a lot, and hindsight is a great thing, right? So everything's easy to solve in hindsight.
And here we are.
There were certainly, issues with the Quayle government that a lot of people didn't like, and where the reception of the new government is much better, and it seems to come across better. A lot of it comes down to communication and the way, things are communicated to the public. So, but there is definitely a gap still on the island for better news coverage in general. And better, general information. I was listening to I think it's on Manx Radio. There's like a recap for the year with Paul Moulton as well.
Yeah.
And he, of course, being the veteran newscaster on the island, and greatly respect him for what he does. It's a very, very important thing to do. He was saying that there are real issues with news over here, that some issues will not get reported because people are afraid that, the government is a big advertiser for the newspaper, for Manx Radio.
Yeah.
Some stories will not be published, and that's wrong. So let's see how transparent the new government is, how they handle the uncomfortable issues and questions, because that's what we should judge them on,
Look at this monster going across the round. That's a beauty, isn't it? That's Marks and Spencer's. So that driver will have the pleasure of going down the back of Market Street to deliver all those fancy goods.
Well, if you see the speeds they do it at, the same down at Tesco, you can tell they've done it 1,000 times.
Oh.
I mean, you and I would be there for half an hour trying to work out what angle to use, and he does it in 10 seconds.
Very talented, very talented. Right, where are we now? So, let's just have a look at the election. So
yes.
So that's the election in September. So we've got October, November, December. So each of the MHKs have had 15 grand's worth of wages each.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Let's see some action. Let's see some good things happening. Let's see some tangible, realistic outcomes on the island. That's what we want.
Yeah, we are still, that's the other thing, just that you mentioned money, we are still totally overgoverned. And the other thing that keeps popping up is, local authority reform. That was a big one. And I think we will see some movement there actually in the next years. Because the current council, for example, we have here, I can't speak for all of them, but I do have a feeling that, I would be totally okay to be one of the turkeys voting for Christmas.
Yeah.
If it means making it more efficient and streamlined, and it means one job less, and that's mine, well, that's fine. I don't see this as a career. I see it as something where I want to do the right thing. So the problem is that turkeys hardly ever vote for Christmas, which is why we have a very bloated government.
Well,
so I want to see what the new administration is doing about that in the next few years. That's going to be how are you really going to save costs? How are you really going to streamline it?
We're looking at the likes of, say, Joni Faraday, for instance. I'll just pluck her out. Well, she's got good sense, and she's the type of person that will see they need to trim the fat. They need to, reduce the amount of gammon. That is quite obvious, and surely those people who are elected with common sense will be steering towards.
But how are you going to do that? It's the old problem in Manx politics. If you try and trim the fat, try and make government smaller, government's the biggest employer, and thereby thousands of voters.
7,000, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's 7,000 plus attached family. You're talking 12 to 15,000 voters probably. Yeah. If you annoy those, they're not going to vote for you again. So you have to make a decision as an MHK. Are you going to do the right thing? And are you going to get enough support to do the right thing? Or are you just going to end your career quickly?
I think if we can justify that the Isle of Man is going to improve. So, for instance, I'm involved in the tourism side of things. Yeah. And it's quite obvious that our leisure industry, our entertainment sector is lacking, not just for tourists, but for locals as well. And we need to have investment there so that the Isle of Man is an attractive destination, but also a great place to live where the young people need to afford housing, have great jobs, and don't think about going away.
Yes.
That is absolutely key. So...
Well, they have...
Hello. We've been joined by... What's your name?
I'm Chris Ryan Lately.
Well, nice to meet you. We're just having a bit of a chat about the Roundel and a few other things. So what we got? So what is next on your list?
Well, you got fans now.
Made in Europe. Made in UK as well.
We've got some fans.
Good.
Excellent.
That's camera action.
Thank you.
Then it's a filmmaking.
Okay, right. What's next on our list?
We're almost at the end of the year already, actually. Well, the last thing I can think about is the new electric railway sign that was in November, I think it went up. Yeah. And I did if you check my YouTube channel, I did a time lapse again. I did the time lapse last year when it came down, and I did a time lapse again when the new one went up. And yeah, the new one's much nicer. It's if you look down the prom here and you see that sign, that's where it belongs. So
it's just that sea The C. The C is
that your
just niggling me. I haven't got OCD, but I
your OCD kicking?
O with a small C. D.
There's a Citroen with a trailer. Don't see that often.
Wow. A
Don't see
Citroen.
ma-
Now, hang on. Is that a Citroen BX or something? No,
No, it's,
Azara. Azara? Is it?
Something like that.
It is. Awful car.
AMG Mercedes. Oh.
Let's see.
So-
Let's have a quick look at the cars. What's coming through? What, Toyota Land Cruiser? Yes or no? No, it's like a pickup, isn't it? Something.
Yeah.
Oh, Vito. A Vito. I had one of those. Absolute brute to drive.
Is
Like
it?
it's like a giant jelly.
See, there's
Can't
not that
steer
many
that one.
electrics now. What's happening? There's one behind us, the Zoe parked there. Zoes are nice as well. They're cheap. If you want a cheap EV, buy a Zoe.
There we go. So I think we'll start to wrap things up. It's been 45 minutes. I've
almost
really
an hour.
enjoyed this, and I think we've been quite lucky. We haven't had any incidents on the Roundel, have we? Nothing to speak of.
Well, because they're doing their jobs, you know. I know we're giving the DOI a lot of flack, but sometimes they get it right. So, and this is
They-
definitely the one time they got it right.
They certainly have here, haven't they?
Yes.
They certainly have here. Maybe it isn't, like I said, maybe it's marketable. We could.
I'm telling you, we should sell naming rights for the Roundels. It would be amazing. It's the way forward.
Well, I think it's time to wrap up the broadcast. It's been lovely, Frank. I enjoyed that, actually.
Yeah, it's nice.
I
A bit
enjoyed it.
fresh now, but
I enjoyed that. And we wish everyone Happy New Year. Enjoy what you do tonight with your friends and families, and
stay safe.
take care. And we'll catch up again, shall we?
Yeah, I think we can build up on this in a sort of. What do you reckon? Would someone want like a proper talk show here with seats and table? Roundel Live. There's potential in this, you know.
Roundel Life. You heard it first. Right, that's it. So if you've got any comments, please put them in the box. Please subscribe, share, and tune in again when we are back.
See ya.